Hey YouTube, it's Chris. Today we're going to take a break from all of the different various music videos, music uploads, reel-to-reel tape deck projects, that kind of stuff, computer stuff I've been working on. I wanted to work on my project here today on my 2002 Lincoln Town Car. And I did a video a good couple of months ago where I upgraded the headlights on this car to all LED. Showed a video about all of that. I can send you a link on it. You can watch that again if you like. And towards the end of that video, I promised that I would work on upgrading all of these taillights to LED. So we're going to get around to doing that today. This car especially is a very good candidate for LED taillights, and I will kind of walk you through as to why that is. And because once, just to replace one bulb in this thing anywhere, even the reverse lights, it's a pain. I mean, there's just so much you got to take apart, pull off, pry off. It's, you know, even have this that light there for the license plate's a pain, because these will turn, but they won't come out unless you kind of pry them out. So I'm gonna see if maybe I can upgrade that to LED. So even that's a pain. And so this would be a really good candidate for LED lights. And once I get them all done, everything all back together, then it's going to last quite a long time. I'll have to keep on messing with it for burned out bulbs. And also, I will be replacing or upgrading the bulbs on that third brake light to all LED as well. So that's probably more of the easier. That's going to be probably the easier thing to work on and to replace. So I'll cover that as well. So I kind of got started. I'll show you where I'm at. I got all my different tools and bulbs and other things all in here. And so what happens is that now this black plastic piece will reopen the trunk. It's already going to be in place on here like this. And you'll have these little plastic little grommets like that. You have so you get several of them. So all you gotta do is take a flatbed screwdriver and a pair of pliers and just go along here. You pry the little thing out. Again, it's this little plastic grommet piece or whatever. And so you pry it out of that hole, work your way around, you pry that out of that one, work your way around. There's going to be another one here you pry out, and then you get that one, and you pry all those off, and that will come off. And now this belonged over here. It went like that or something. And so I've already taken out the CD changer all out of it, so that just kind of just comes off. It just sits there. And so once you get that all out of the way, then you can just go ahead and just kind of lay this down. And here you'll see 3 bolts you got to take out to get to the bulbs. And that's the only way you're going to get to it. And it's a pain just to even do one bulb. But the other thing I'm going to show you while I'll be taking those off. Look at all this wiring here. You got this connector here, and this connector goes into that little hole, kind of holds it, so you can pry that out of there or maybe slide it off, whichever. But on these wires, you got this one. I think this one is, I'm trying to see which one it is. It's black, I think. It might be ground. And anyway, so you got this one wire, and they got it tapped into this little thing here, and it goes into 3 wires for each bulb. So I think this is ground, I'm not positive. And then you have this other wire here. This one wire kind of comes up, and that also goes into this little thing here, and again it goes into 3 wires. Then you also get this orange one where you get 1 wire goes in this little thing here, and you got 3 wires for each bulb. So when you're going to go to replacing the LED bulbs, you have to find out which one of these does the turn signal. We're going to find out which one of these wires does the blinking part for the turn signal. And so once we find that out, what we're going to do is, because these LED bulbs take little to no current, well, the computer or the car is going to think there's a missing bulb. It's just going to flash really rapidly. So I got these load equalizers, these load resistors, and so where the one side of that resistor will plug, well, not necessarily plug in, but it'll splice in, I should say, to the wire that does all the that does a turn signal, and the other side of that load resistor goes to the ground wire, which is black typically. So you only need one of these because you only got one wire for each thing. So I thought for a minute there you had to have like all 3 resistors for each bulb, but thankfully they got it where, you know, you only got one wire here. I can hook in to the load resistor, and the other side of the load resistor goes into the black ground wire, whichever that is. That's probably, I think it's this one. So that's going to be pretty easy, because I didn't know how many I need. I bought a whole bunch, so I got several extra. So that's kind of, they'll save a whole big thing. And I did take my knife and I uncovered all of the black electrical tape I had all covered all over this, so make it a lot easier to work on. So if you want to, you could go ahead, when you're done with all of this, put some black electrical tape all around it, really tight if you want, or you can just leave it. I don't think it's going to make any difference. It's not going to go anywhere. So then I got these bulbs here. I will show you. And these are the, you know, we're going to be using these kind of LED bulbs. I'll show that to you as well. So first thing is first, we're going to take I've got a ratchet here. If I can, see if I can find my ratchet. Let's see. I got it here. Here it is. I've never taken this off before, so this is the first time. You know, like I say, I kind of got started on some of it, but I kind of left the rest of it before I was wanting to start to video, so I can kind of walk you through. So it's not all too bad to do, actually. It's just a pain, because you got to pull away all of this trunk matting in this car. You got to pull off all those little plastic rivets. So there's that. So you got to pull off all those little plastic rivets all off of there, and then remove the plastic. You got to pull away all of the black electrical tape so you can see all what the wires are going where with what. And here in a little while I will show you what I have that will help to identify which wire of those is the turn signal. You can buy, it's a very simple little tool you can buy yourself at any auto parts store, or maybe even Walmart, for, I don't know, several dollars, maybe $10 or something like that. And I'll show you that here in a little while as to what I got. So I never done this before, so if I need to probably turn off the camera for a bit to work on something, I can do that. But so I got those, so it's just a matter of pulling that off. So that pulls off of there. You could probably take a hose or something and wash all that stuff off and wash all that garbage all out of there, whatever that mess is. But these, there's the bulbs. They all twist and turn out. So we got a total of 3 of them, and so we can go ahead and we can start to replace these bulbs, and I can, and I'll walk you through that. Kind of get that stuff kind of washed down a little bit too. So let's, I'll put the camera up over to the side, and I'll kind of get that stuff kind of washed off and cleaned up, and then I can move on. I'll show you about doing the bulbs. So we'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and so I just got a hose. I just kind of washed down this whole area. It only took a few moments. I got it all washed down. I got all that crud all off the back there. Alright, maybe that'll work. So anyway, so like I say, these are, what's nice about these, that they're all twist and turn, you know, twist and pull out. So we got this big bulb here. It's gotta take the bulb out of there. It's still it's a pretty decent bulb. It's not all too bad. So let's see. We got this one. You get the same. Can't see that real well, I don't think. You get that same connector on the end of it. So plug in right here. Just a matter of trying to make sure you get it lined up the way it's supposed to be. That bulb was good, so that hope you can see that. That probably goes in your way the whole time, but you know, these will just kind of, like this one, you know, you just twist it as far as it will go and it will come out of there. You just put it back in there best you can, get it lined up into the hole there, and then trying to see if I can get you to see what I'm doing here. There. So I hope you can see that. This one will be better to see. Twist that out of there. I like to try and keep these LEDs as clean as I can when I put them back in, so they don't get a bunch of stuff all over it. Just a matter of trying to fit it in there and then just twist it on. So now you got all of the get all the bulbs in there, twist it on and secure. So let's see if I can show it to you a little bit better. See if I can show it to you a little bit better this way over here. So like I say, these just twist and turn. Can't really do it with one hand very well, but they pull out the twist and then they just twist back in. It's the same thing for this one and then that one. They all do the same thing. The other thing I was wanting to show you was that these are all sealed all up. You know, so there's really no way to put a little probe in there to see what wire does the turn signal. So there's an easier way of doing that, and I'll show you here in a minute. So you get that back in there. And then all I gotta do then is kind of get the all three studs all back in the holes. And you get that little thing, you get that there, it's going to go in that hole. So you get your 3 bolts back in there. So now it's just a matter of taking the little nuts here, putting them back in. I'll just get them finger tight for now. I can wrench them down a little bit later. Just gonna see, make sure they're gonna work. So let's test them out and see at the moment. Let's just see if they work. Hope you can see it. I guess you can kind of see that. Get you kind of moved in a bit better. So they're all flashing, but as you can see, they are flashing a little faster than they should. So that's where those load resistors will come in. Let's see about the brake light too. So I turned on the other lights, the parking lights. You can kind of see that the flashing with the dim glow all on it. So 3 of them are working. Okay, so we got, as we know, the tail lights, LED tail lights are working on that side, and they do flash. Some might say that it flashes normally to them, but I always like to make sure that it's going to be staying that way, especially when I replace the bulbs in the front of the car with LED. The turn signal's up there. So just to be sure, I got, like I mentioned earlier, I got these Sylvania LED load resistors, Equalizers. So they give you a pair in a box, and they get the little warning here all about when they do run, when there's current running through there, they will get extremely hot. So you have to, we're going to put these somewhere where when they do get hot, it's not going to affect anything or burn anything or melt anything either. They give you all the instructions on that, and each one of these in a box will include a little thing of zip ties and little connectors, which will come in pretty handy for the wire for that. Okay, so I got the turn signal back on. It is blinking quicker or faster than it normally does, so those load resistors will help it to flash at the proper slower rate, but some of you might think that's okay. So the load resistors will be optional for you if you want. I'd much rather have them in here just to make sure that they will flash properly. So I got this connector here, and then so all we got to do is just take our little probe light, which I have here. You can buy this at any auto parts store or Walmart, whichever, for, I don't know, several dollars or $10, whatever it is. I could probably replace the bulb and this one with LED if I really wanted to. It's just a little regular 12-volt incandescent bulb. So the one side is going to go to ground. I guess I'll try and put it here. And I'll take the little rubber protective tip off of it. And so we need to find out which one is going to be the turn signal. Can't really do this with one hand. I'm going to have to put the camera on a tripod and see. Sometimes I don't have a, may not have this plugged into a good ground or something else. Let's see. It's going to be pretty difficult doing this with one hand. I can't really see all that I'm doing. Trying to plug it into this thing here. It's got the hole for the connector. So let's try, see if I can get a better ground. That's kind of the hard part, trying to, you know, hook this thing up to a good ground so this thing will work. There we go, finally. So that's the turn signal, and it's looking like you can't really see anything that way. see here. So that's a turn signal, and it's looking like it's the orange wire. It's got orange and silver wire. That'd be the turn signal. So now we know it's the orange. We're going to find out which one is the ground. So probably need to do is go back out and turn on the parking light. So I got voltage for that wire. Alright, I'm not sure. Now I got to go back and see if anything got recorded, but so what happened was I took the load resistor, which is this, and I got one wire into this orange wire here. So you fit the one wire from the resistor through this little plastic clip deal, and you run the clip over the orange and silver wire and just squeeze it really good with a big pair of pliers. And then you take your other wire from the load resistor to the black ground, same thing. You run your wire from the resistor into this clip, and the black wire goes in through there, and you squeeze it really good and tight, hard, with a big pair of pliers, and it should make contact with the wire. And I can feel this. It's pretty warm, or getting hot to touch, so it's working. But looks like it's looking like the turn signals are about maybe the same rate of speed. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but anyway, at the very least, you do have the resistor in there just to be sure. It probably might make a difference if I start the engine and make it run. So let's see about taking my zip ties, and I'll find a location for that little load resistor. So we'll be back in a bit. Alright, well, I had to take a break for a while. Had a rain shower, moved through, got everything all wet, so I had to kind of take a break from it all. But anyway, I worked on it for a little bit. So like I said earlier, now this resistor does get plenty warm and hot to touch, so it is working. I have it plugged, I got it connected all up properly. And so just to let you know too, I got my little zip tie here, and I got this resistor back up behind here. It's gonna not probably go anywhere. It's gonna hold on there all right. So then it's just a matter of going ahead and putting this back up like that, and then you have your, you put this all back together, get your little stud in here somewhere like that, and then this little round screw thing will hold it up in there. So let's go ahead and plug this back, put my little tester light back in. So like I say, now I got the one end of the resistor to what I believe is the turn signal, which is that orange and silver wire. See if I can make sure I got the right thing here. Yeah. So I have the so that's right to that orange and silver wire. That's the turn signal, and I do have the resistor hooked up to it, and the other end is going to ground, which is this one far wire on this little connector, and I don't get anything out of it, so we know it's ground. There's no voltage going to it. Just make sure I got the right thing for ground. Yeah, so I don't have anything to that one far wire, and if I go to this one, I don't have anything plugged into. It comes on steady. So So as far as I know, I got the load resistor attached correctly, and it's just blinking a little quicker, but then that's okay. At least I got it on there. So like I say, so got this part done. This normally this little thing will go in a hole here, but just to move the resistor over to some place where it's not going to affect anything sensitive, I'll just kind of leave it hanging there. It'll be all right. You know, it won't hurt anything. So I just gotta get my little round thing here through the stud. Get that on there and I'll hold it up. This is the wire for the CD changer, which I don't need, because I did a previous video already on doing my Pioneer stereo upgrade all on it. Now this side will be pretty similar to the other. Just take this off, pull this all down, and you got your 3 bolts here, and I got all of this wrapped up wire. So I'll take my knife and I'll get all that tape all off of there, or unwrap it, so I can get to the wires a little easier. Alright, well I was going to start on taking all this tape off, but actually I may not have to. Now you also have this run of wire, goes all along here, and it kind of taps into this other wire that goes away on the other side. So maybe what will happen here a little later, I'll put a load resistor on one of these wires here. Actually, I want to take all this tape off. I mean, you can if you want. And maybe I'll have enough wire for this load resistor, if I'm fortunate enough, to I don't know, maybe put it here. I'm going to have to drill a hole for it. If I got wire long enough, I could just put it with that, maybe, if it will reach. And I can put it there. Just may have to just drill a small hole for the zip tie. So I can try that. You know, maybe it'll save me some time and go do it that way perhaps. So let's see. So let's go ahead, get my ratchet here. Take these off. So that's kind of quick and easy enough. That's not near as nasty dirty as the other side was, but I'll still get a hose and I'll rinse that off. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I got that rinsed off. I got my bulbs here. There's one. That's a different bulb I use for something else, so I don't need that one. There is that one we'll use. And then we got that one. Let's see if I can have this so you can see. I hope you can. I can't really see all that well what the viewfinder is either, but I'll start with this one. Just twist it out, take the bulb out. Just put it back in, twist it in. So I got that. So you get the bulbs all in, twisted in. You just got to line up your little plastic hole and line up your other 3 studs into the holes there, and you got it all back in. Then you just go ahead and we'll just finger tight these little nuts for now. And I've already snugged down the other ones on the other side already, so those are all tightened down. Well, you can see we got all 3 LED bulbs going on the turn signal, so that's a good sign. We'll turn on the parking lights. So we got all of them all working, so just a matter of putting the load resistor on the wire. It does the turn signal and ground, so we'll cover that here in a second. We have the, so now we need to get the LEDs going. Let's see which wire does the turn signal. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the orange and silver wire again. So as you can see, that's what it is. It's the orange and silver does the turn signal, and let's see if it's this one that does the parking lights. If I can get it in there. Yep, that's the parking lights. So we know that's that wire for that. So that means that this wire here is going to be the ground. So we'll hook up a load resistor with this black wire here and this orange wire, and then we'll see how it does with the flashing at that point. So we'll do that. Okay, I got the load resistor installed, and you can see it's still blinking a little quicker than I would like, so I don't know, maybe it might have something to do with not having the bulbs up in the front changed out yet. We'll have to see on another day, but it's still blinking quick as I would like, but I don't know, I guess it's okay too. I guess no real big deal. It's no deal breaker, but you probably couldn't see really well what I was trying to do with these little plastic connectors. They have to kind of fold them all together, and so once you get the wires in the little plastic channel as best as you can, you just kind of fold it all together and just squeeze the heck all out of it with the pliers. So I do have them all connected, and just to make sure, I got the probe in that one little terminal. It does the parking light, so I know I got that. That one's right. That's just for the regular parking lot, for that little terminal there. This is for the turn signal, and then this one is, put it in there. It doesn't do anything. It's for ground. But it turns out I don't really have. That's really warm. Hot. So yeah, you don't want to put this anywhere where something might catch a fire or flammable, whatever. So maybe I can figure a way to mount this here somewhere. I don't have quite enough wire, unless I try to pull it and try to mount it up in there some way. But yeah, you don't want that hot resistor anywhere near plastic or rubber or whatever. It might, have a problem with it. So I'm going to work on trying to get a suitable location for that, and put either a zip tie on it to support it or something else. So I'll work on that, and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, well, it turned out I didn't have to drill any holes. What I did instead was I found a couple of existing holes way in the very bottom down there. They're already there. I just ran a little zip tie in there, and which you can't see obviously very finely. So I ran a little zip tie and ran it up around, there's one of these on the bottom of it, so I ran the zip tie around that on the bottom, and so it's going to hold it. It's not going to go anywhere. Just going to sit there, and then so when this goes over back here, it's just, you know, you can see, you know, when this closes over, it's not going to touch anything. It's going to just kind of, you know, cover over it. So we'll just, and then when you get that done, just kind of push that back on there. Get your little round screw to attach it on here. Hold it in place. And then you just do the same for that, and then this little plastic piece will go back on here, kind of fit it back on there, and then you got your, kind of fit up your carpeting, whichever, and you get your little grommet pieces that will fit in those holes, so we'll do that. And then so, meanwhile, we can go inside and I'll show you those. I'll show you those lights, and those are going to be easiest ones to do, so we'll be covering that next. Okay, inside the back seat, and you see that little notch. Just take your pocket knife or a little flat blade screwdriver and just carefully pry that up. Of course, it takes both hands, and I don't have quite both hands to use, but that's, there we go. It just kind of pulls up, and then you can just access the bulbs here and get them out with one hand. So just, so like I was trying to say was, it will, you know, once you get this thing cut, when it's in there, you just pry up in the little notch here and just kind of lift up, and it'll come out. And then so get to these bulbs here, little wedge on it. So hopefully these are going to fit. They should fit. You got plenty of room in there, and that lens looks like to me. That one's about burned out. They were going to be burned out. That's how it goes. It goes in that way. It's a pain trying to get that in there. So let's see if it's even going to fit. There we go. Looks like it will fit just fine. And we'll see how they light up. Alright, that seemed to work pretty good. If I look close enough, I can see one of the bulbs is a little crooked, but no real big deal on that. So, at least those are working. So next, we're going to need to do is work on these reverse lights and that little license plate light. So, in order for me to get a hold of all of those lights, I'm going to have to take out each and every one of these little plastic grommet pieces all the way on around here, Take that one out. We got one there, and on down that one, all the way across. So I've got to pry all of those off, and then once I get all of that down, then I can get a hold of the bulb. So I'll work on that. It'll take a little while, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got that whole big black velvet thing off of the trunk. There's, like I mentioned earlier, there's a whole bunch of those little plastic little grommet pieces that hold the whole thing up, so you got to pry them all out of there, pull them out with some pliers. So that took a little while. So I was starting to work on these screws for this license plate bulb, and I just remembered that I don't have the bulb for this yet. It's on order. So I'll mess with that for another time, but these little plastic screws are not going to come out real easy, so I'm not sure as to what the secret is on that. I'll mess with that sometime later, but for now it's working, but I'll replace that another day. So meanwhile, I can work on these reverse bulbs, and they did have the wire, they had this wire all taped all up, electrical tape, so you just take that tape off. So I'll just pull that bulb off of there, and get these little bulbs here. I'll get you on the tripod here so I can have both hands free. So I hope you saw that well enough. But so, you know, what happens is that you just twist the bulb out of that little socket, and you just gotta try to fit it up in there in such a way so it twists back in. So I may have to kind of work on some of these. But same thing for this one. You know, get the wiring all there. It's kind of in your way, but pretty much, you know, just twists and pulls, and you just gotta work it up in there and then twist it back into for it to lock in. So that's all back in there. So let's see if these bulbs will work. Might be, you can kind of see that. So their reverse lights are all nice and bright there. So those are all working. So just a matter of putting the big black velvet thing, whatever, back all up here and secure it all back into those little plastic grommet things. So I'll work on that, and so maybe a little later tonight, when it gets dark enough, I can turn the taillights back on, see what it looks like at night. So we'll be back in a little bit. Well, here is the LED taillights at night. Actually pretty bright. And I did find a small little incandescent bulb for that license plate, so that will get me by for a while until I get an LED bulb for it. So let's try out the hazards and brake lights. Seems like the only time the signal lights will flash at the right speed is when it's on hazard. So maybe if you replace the front end incandescent bulbs up there in the front, maybe it'll blink regular. I'll have to see. Let's try the other one. like I said, that was blinding. At least they work. So it looks like that's all for this project for now with the LED tail lights. And like I said, a future project to be doing the front blinker lights up front, marker lights up there, and we'll see how those will blink with the load resistors on it. So that's all for this project for now. Thanks for watching, and feel free to like and subscribe. I'd like to get as many subscribers and likes as I possibly can handle. And I'll see you on the next project, and more music videos will be coming up shortly as well. And for next time, we'll see you later.